You know, I was gonna make a funny joke about Epstein, but unfortunately, and even worse, he got and in this weird plan of his, among countless of other people, helping them to enjoy the deal island and covering up with our trusted governments. And now that they've been exposed harder than last time, they are trying their hardest to move on.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Really. Now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
Pretty weird how you want to accuse people of all sorts of things without proof, but once it's you, we must think that it never happened. Most people were fine with letting a narcissistic fat boy salesman in the office since they weren't really offered anything more promising. And a lot of people even decided to be faithful to the very end, no matter how many promises he broke. But if you decide to be ignorant to the fact that this guy was mentioned more in the files than Jesus was mentioned in the Bible, then you gotta have some serious workaround on this. Oh, but I don't care, it doesn't affect my life. Yes, it does. You play by the law that these people set. You pay your taxes to these people's pockets. Your whole life is and always will be dictated by these people. Even if you don't care, they do. And the more oblivious you are, the less likely you're gonna have any freedom in the future. Imagine how the victims and their parents feel about this whole thing. It's an atrocity and you can't just ignore it because it didn't happen to you. Yet, I'm so glad that finally people have snapped out of their political hibernation and started to understand what's going on. And meanwhile people are pushing to get the truth out. I've had a few questions in mind. First of all, why kids? Why would someone go this far just to fiddle some kids? 16, 17-year-olds?
I get it.
But 11? What good is an 11-year-old for? They can at best now choke on some broccoli, let alone some ex-president's sewer pipe. And if that wasn't horrible enough, you certainly ain't gonna be happy listening to Hawkins AI telling you,
"All my science, I am reaching gamma ray burst level climax. My will go supernova."
But instead of kidnapping and trafficking kids, why didn't they just pretend that the dealer island had the favorite influencers on there? Just put a picture of Prime, Mr. Beast and Mia Khalifa with a vape, and kids would have just started storming there in a tsunami. Best part is most parents wouldn't even have bothered to do research, and all of you would have kept your reputation, and Jeffrey wouldn't have to pretend to die in a jail cell. Which brings me to my next question. Where is the dude? We know for sure he ain't buried where they claim he is. Some say Bahamas, some say he's right in town, uses our cookie sellers to stay afloat, or maybe it's just the taxpayers funding at best. It's not uncommon for us to find pedos living, hell we do it every day. But in case you want to be safe, just cross the street whenever coming across the grey-haired man. I think that the most bizarre part of this whole thing is how many famous people are in the list, like Leonardo DiCaprio. Not the most surprising thing, I mean if he's dated youngsters before, it's not too far off he might want to have some raw meat. Stephen Hawking. I have so many questions about this. How did this dude even get in contact with Epstein? If he were to mail the dude, he definitely would have needed to ask someone else to send them. How disabled friendly was the island exactly? I don't think Jeffrey himself was interested in carrying his crippled ass up every stair they come across. How did this dude even smash any kiddos? It's not like he could have pinned them down. I mean at most he drive over their toes to assert dominance. Anyhow, they definitely will let off easy. I mean at worst your toes would be a little blue. Arguably less worse than Prince Andrew practicing his WWE moves on you. Or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. telling you all about America and their health as he's openly giving us a throbbing healthcare. Or Elon Musk telling you all about rockets as he's taking you on a trip to the atmosphere. Or Donald Trump teaching about business as he's trying to bank a rupture to your egg nest. Or Michael Jackson show you what position to take so he can practice his hip thrusting. My god, does this shit ever stop? Nope. It does not. Aside from the fact that people we openly voted for and supported are in the list, the more worrying part is the amount of doctors, scientists and professors that were also included, and these weird ass science experiments they concluded on people, trying to turn them into superhumans. Now why was he trying to make these superhumans? I was thinking that he was perhaps making a live action Hulk movie, more realistic than what they did in the 70s, but turns out it was again mostly about sex. Generational horror for countless amounts of people with trafficking, blackmail and science experiments, just for some superficial love? I guess pussy really is a strong motivator. But the funny thing about the files is how ridiculous some of these leaks are. I mean, we were asking to know who could be dealt by whom and prosecute. And probably even execute. But instead we were given emails about food. Like it's not really moving the investigation forward. But by far my most favorite is the don't phenomenon. And no, it's not a reference to the victims. For those who don't know, the word don't was censored multiple times in the files. You might be asking why. Now you might be asking, surely that all of this is being released to the public there are some consequences, right? Right? Well, the messiah of Epstein files is still in office, doing some morning stretches before he gets mentioned again in the files, doing some crutches before he tries to overthrow democracy again, playing some golf before he bombs another kid's school. Honestly, this Epstein thing has made me realize how easy I've had my life. Sure, I was bullied growing up, but I'd rather get kicked and called names than having to testify in court about tongue scrubbing Clinton's ballsack. I mean, just imagine how bad it would be to first get sexually abused all those years, only to go back to the mainland and get tortured by.
Epstein kidnapped me when I was 11. He showed me his slong feels like heaven.
Really makes you think whether or not to bitch about the minor things that happen to you. Now, whatever the future shows, I hope it's something good. Something better than DIW, or Diddy out of wrestling. Wait, what's that? Oh my god, make it bigger. Even bigger? Even bigger? Oh yeah, baby.